casserole and sweet potato mashed potatoes. I've literally never had green bean casserole in my life. And some people will be like, what? Yeah, it just never, even when we went over my great aunt and uncle's house for Christmas Eve, green bean casserole was just never anything they made. So I've literally never had this once. So actually today I'm eating second Thanksgiving. Basically all the leftovers that I had last week, the turkey, the stuffing, the green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, even caramel tarts, caramel apple tarts, all that I'm having today for dinner. A second helping of Thanksgiving.
Hello everyone, welcome to the real, genuine, final video of 2023, a This Week at X. As you noticed, we started with some DSP. I just like a little contradiction. It was tweeted out by Keemstar, I believe Drymarlet as well. I thought it quite amusing. We're not going to start there though. We're going to start instead with Cenk Uygur, who appeared on Talk TV, and yes, he got ripped a new one. This was shared to Twitter by Emilio2763. Hey, at Cenk Uygur, how's that running for president grift going? Retweeted by Sugar Tits. Cenk got spanked.
Let me just get on to it. You say first of all, I don't care about the death of Palestinian children. Yes, I do care. I care very deeply about it. But I also know that the responsibility for their deaths lies on Hamas, which has misgoverned their society for the last 16 years. And I mention that I cover wars and go to wars because I happen to think myself that it's worth seeing things with your own eyes, including things that you don't particularly like, but you report the truth. I don't know if you ever even leave your own bedroom.
Sometimes when ponage is presented, one must not interfere with the ponage for it to be truly felt. It should be noted that same gentleman pointed out that the idea of a two-state solution in this region would not work. If you had ever stepped foot in that region, you'd understand why. Us on the outside cannot speak for those on the inside, and those on the inside do not align with us because we're on the outside. Just before we continue, I want to now insert a random block of the week that I should have included 2 weeks ago. Ethan Ralph, the Ralph Retort, killstream extraordinaire, head of the sector, a man who is currently in, dating a lady after 2 failed relationships, 2 children. He owes mountains of child support, and Cog on a regular basis dabs on him. I think because I'm a follower of Cogs and have engaged in his livestream chats and with some of his tweets, I have managed to earn myself a block. During the time of Gamergate, Ethan Ralph followed me. When he had a channel, I in fact livestreamed with him when Brexit happened. We had a good relationship for a long time, but as he spiraled out of control and I decided, I'm going to go a different way, Mr. Ralph has essentially eroded at what's left of his sanity and his follicles. I have just continued to be a dickhead with a microphone and a Nerf gun. A random block of the week, everyone. What a time to be alive. What a great way to end the year. 13 reasons why trans star Tommy Dorfman is threatened to be kicked out of LaGuardia by Delta employee after she rants about being misgendered. That's an article title from the Daily Mail. This was doing its rounds on Twitter by End Wokeness and Riley Games. Included is a video of that very incident, and I'm going to play it now so you can all determine whether or not the employee is in the right or not.
And what about when a Delta employee misgenders you intentionally?
While he's talking, you're talking.
You just misgendered me again.
Okay.
Multiple times.
Gotcha.
Both of you have.
Sorry.
Wasn't intentional, but if you want to take it personal, that's also.
Well, she did do it intentionally twice.
You're talking to me too.
You said she and then you said he.
You're being condescending, and if you want to continue, I have Port Authority escort you out the building right this moment if you want to play that game with me.
Okay.
Would you like to continue 3 days before Christmas? I really don't mind.
We are often led to believe in all walks of life when it involves a customer and service, the customer is always right. I fundamentally disagree with that and believe the customer is always wrong. Make of that what you will. Now to something amusing. From December the 26th, tweeted by Kevin Sorbo. We received about 20 inches of snow this week. So, at 8 AM I made a snowman. At 8:10, a feminist passed by and asked me why I didn't make a snow woman. At 8:15, so I made a snow woman. At 8:17, my feminist neighbour complained about the snow woman's voluptuous chest, saying it objectified women everywhere. At 8:20, the gay couple living nearby threw a hissy fit and moaned it should have been 2 snowmen instead. At 8:22, the transgender man-woman person asked why I didn't just make one snow person with detachable parts, like Mr. Potato Head. At 8:25, the vegans at the end of the lane complained about the carrot nose as veggies are food and not to be used to decorate snow figures. At 8:28, I was being called a racist because the snow person is white. At 8:30, I used food colouring to make the snow person a different colour and be more racially inclusive. At 8:37, then I was accused of using a blackface on the snow person. At 8:39, the Middle Eastern gent across the road demanded the snow woman be completely covered. At 8:40, the police arrived saying someone had been offended. At 8:42, the feminist neighbour complained again that the broomstick of the snow woman needed to be removed because it depicted women in a domestic role. At 8:43, the Council on Equality officer arrived and threatened me with eviction. At 8:45, TV news crew from ABC showed up. I asked if I know the difference between snowmen and snow women. I replied, snowballs, and am now a sexist. 9. I was on the news as a suspected terrorist, racist, homophobe and sensibility offender, bent on stirring up trouble during difficult weather. At 9:10, I was asked if I had any accomplices. My children were taken by social services. At 9:29, far-left protesters offended by everything marched down the street demanding I be arrested. 9:45, the boss called and fired me because of the negative association with work that had been all over social media. At 10, I cried into my drink because all I wanted to do was build a snowman. Moral: there is no moral to this story, it is what this world has become because of a bunch of snowflakes. Replies essentially turned off. Bit ironic there, Kevin. Just to go back to my random block of the week, other people experienced similar Christmas gifts. For example, Starbreaker. This kind of funny. Tipster blocked me, a literal nothing burger nobody, for saying he doesn't really stand anywhere on issues on Boblax's post about him. It's worth noting too that he also has Boblax blocked, so how did he find out what I said? It could be a block bot. It could be that Tipster actually went and looked. I agree with Boblax here that it's basically a waste of your Christmas. Because if you spent it looking for people to block, you're a bit tragic, really. So moving on from that, we're going to go to some kind of content I keep seeing on my YouTube shorts. Content I don't particularly care about that much. I don't care about it much because it's the same thing over and over again. Now granted, a few Gorlock lolcows have appeared because of it. But to see the same regurgitated content on a podcast every single time, in the form of YouTube shorts doing the exact same clips but with different bimbos, seems a bit disingenuous. In one clip, tweeted by Garbage Human, you have somebody being kicked off the podcast for clearly not being interested in being there. Retweeted by Ranting Monkey, kind of douchey to invite on vapid bimbos and then get upset when they turn out to be vapid bimbos, which is another point. Keemstar, anyone getting tired of seeing these clips of weirdos attempting to sound smart by giving elaborate explanations on why only fangirls are whores with no value? Just call them a whore, no vol. Y'all are on episode 2000 still saying the same thing but just in a different way. Essentially, they're being poet about it. I'll play the relevant clip so you can get the point.
So you're bored? Make this conversation less boring. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire, Brian?
Is that your best effort?
Sure.
In any case, you're not particularly adding to the conversation. You've been disrespectful this entire time. You're entitled, you're rude, you have TikTok brain, you cannot stay focused. We've only been live for an hour and a half or so. I'm gonna ask you to leave.
Okay.
So get up, get the f*** out. On my deadass podcast, bitch, you f***ing do OnlyFans, you f***ing degenerate.
This isn't the kind of content for me. If you want to look down on somebody for their choice of profession, that's fine. But for me, it's not really worth my time. It's not something I want to watch. I want to watch videos of dogs and cats being goofy. Yeah. Keem also tweeted though, OnlyFans girls are starting to call him out because he needs them for his show. Hannah Joe, this is hilarious because he's in my DMs every other week begging me to come back on the show. Well, that's not good, is it? You need them, but they don't really need you. It's not symbiotic, it's very much a one-way street. Perhaps stop being a one-trick pony and make better content. Said with no level of irony from this grifting e-beggar hack. While we're here, Over the 9 years I've been on Twitter, it's taken me that long to finally hit 10,000 followers. Thank you to everyone that follows me on Twitter. I really appreciate it. I've never gone for a blue check mark. I certainly am not going to be paying for the Twitter blue thing. I don't care for any of that. But to be able to grow to such a number is quite a milestone for me. Thank you. So I guess we should now talk about Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais is a fantastic writer and a reasonably good actor. He's not really a stand-up comic, but he does have talent in delivery that has meant that he has been able to do a number of live shows or specials that have entertained people. Recently, he has done such a thing, and this got him trending, James A. Caster trending, and Frankie Boyle trending. James A. Caster because he parodied Ricky Gervais, and Frankie Boyle because he's a bellend, a disingenuous one that made his millions from being edgy and dark humour. These same dark humour jokes now being made by the likes of Ricky Gervais and even Jimmy Carr, although Jimmy Carr has been very consistent for a long time about it. So is Ricky Gervais actually, just to be clear here, and he's quite entertaining on Twitter. Clips of that special were doing their rounds on Twitter, and I'm not going to play them because I'll get a copyright strike for that. I might get one for Talk TV, you never know at this point. These same clips were being shared by the likes of Vivian Woolf, who said it's a short hop from transphobia to xenophobia, racism and the far right. Vivian is a person who believes that they coined the term the alt-right pipeline, and the replies to them are quite amusing. For example, we have Bearing. Here we go, cue the Ricky Gervais is a bigot tweets. I'm going to watch his special today, I bet it's hilarious. Replies directly under the tweet, because I can't archive all of it at once, would include, babe, he's hilarious, your victim act is so boring. Your whole generation is going to live your life without a sense of joy as you can't even laugh at a little comedy without being offended and calling names. It actually makes me feel sorry for you all. Maybe, just maybe, sometimes it's a joke and maybe you can laugh. And yay, you managed to get all 3 buzzwords in. I'll do one more. It's an even shorter hop to wrongly use the phrase far right to police speech, but then that's been done to death at this point. Reply, oh yeah, it's definitely the right to have their speech policed, what with owning 95% of the major newspapers and having a rapidly radicalizing right-wing party in power for 13 years that has legislated specifically to stifle left-wing protests. Amazing stuff there, Brian. That is a false equivalence. Also, we have found your vocal minority have been able to impact greater change, or attempts at it, than that of the more right-leaning. It gets quite interesting when you see just how little the Conservatives have accomplished, beyond proving they're Conservatives. Labour had their chances multiple times, and now you have a former leader of your own party, in the form of Tony Blair, who has started to agree that perhaps the idea of mass immigration isn't such a good idea. But go figure the Europhile would learn this in hindsight, a typical trait of Labour generations. I find both of these major parties quite frustrating. The discussion on whether his special was good or not is, like comedy, subjective. I have seen enough of it to believe that actually it's quite amusing. If you can for a second, just learn to take something as a joke and not as a personal slight. Not be so pedantic, not be so serious. Learn to take something as a light-hearted jest at the way society is, as opposed to, oh my god, all the buzzy buzzwords. I must be offended now. Allow me to demonstrate my mass offensiveness. Offendedness. By bleating on about it on Twitter, where real people like to have those kind of conversations. As this is the final video I intend to put together for this year, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everyone for watching all the extra content I made in December. I would be making something for Sunday the 31st, but I am now in the process of relocating my office to my actual office. For 8.5 years I've used a box bedroom, a very small bedroom, like so small, 2 steps either direction, you're touching a wall or a door. I am now going to be relocating to an office that's the same size as the room, but it will be an office instead. And so hopefully starting on Monday, we shall be producing content there. If there is any audio issues, I would like to apologize now because it will be a learning curve to get everything right.